All right, so we finished up last night the spring film season of movie watching, and it was, of course, this began on March 29th with the viewing of Terror at Red Wolf Inn, 1972, which I reviewed, and it concluded last night appropriately on the final day of May, on a Friday, with a 1973 film called Idaho Transfer. This is my review of Idaho Transfer. For those of you playing trivia tonight and tomorrow night, there is no article in this title, all right? So remember that. Idaho Transfer, 1973. Also on the Nightmare Worlds box set of 50 movies. It is free on YouTube, free on Tubi TV. During a time of waning global resources, a crew of young researchers that we think they're college, very early college age, maybe like college freshmen. They travel into the future to escape an apocalypse that before the shutdown of their time transfer project, they find that some type of disaster has depopulated the Idaho region and perhaps the whole world. So they're facing the unknown and facing an unknown future. They go into the future of this abandoned towns. Well, not really. You don't really see towns, but it looks like the main place that they go to is this volcanic type of like lava type area where you have these black rocks, and it's a really nice setting. And so this is in the year 2044. So we're 20 years away from this, boys. So sometime between 1973 and 2044, they don't know when, there was some kind of ecological disaster that happened. So this is not like they took a typical post-nuke movie and made a time travel film out of it. They go a different direction, which I think is pretty cool. This is written by Mathiasson is the name of the guy who wrote it, and he did not write anything else. The only movie that he wrote. Pretty solid for his one film. It's directed by Peter Fonda, who only directed 3 films in his life. One was in 1971. This was the second one, and there was another one in 1979. He was mostly an actor. The film stars Kelly Bohannon as Karen, and then it has Kevin Hurst. Kevin Hurst as Ronald, and then Caroline Hildebrand as Isa, the sister. So the 2 girls are sisters, Caroline Hildebrand and Kelly Bohannon. All these are just no-name actors. I'll get to that coming up. The only actor in this film that comes close to being a name actor is Keith Carradine, of course, of the Carradine dynasty, one of John's sons. And we'll be watching one of his films soon, Girl in Lover's Lane. He's in it just a little bit. I mean, it's the girl. Red Zone Cuba, 1966. So, Ted DeArmas plays George, the father of the 2 girls. He only has like one scene. He's really good. And then the rest are just, like I said, just no names that do a good job. But it starts out like you think it's going to be you think that the main actress is going to be Caroline Hildebrand, Isa, and then because she's the one you see going into the future, and then they recruit her sister, who is like out of, I think, her freshman year of college, so to go into the future because they need young people to go and restart civilization, because they think that all civilization has been wiped out at this point. And so the first time the 2 girls go into the future, on the way back, Kelly Isa, who is played by Caroline Hildebrand, dies because she is not secured into the transfer portal correctly, so she dies. So then it becomes Kelly Bohannon is our lead female star, and I think that's it was a weird twist. It was like, I kind of liked Caroline Hildebrand in the small part she was in the film, and then when they kill her off, it's like, wow. But then you kind of, I hate to say, but you kind of forget about her because Kelly Bohannon does such a good job. So some of the things that are really good are Kevin Hurst, the guy who plays Ronald. He's kind of a semi-lead actor here. I really like his character. He's a real nerdy, thin, kind of quiet guy, really dark hair, kind of bowl cut, glasses. He's real dorky, but he comes off like someone who has never tried to be accepted and like tried to fit in too much. And he comes off real mature for his age. He's someone who really respects the Kelly Bohannon, Karen's character. He really respects Karen. They're kind of like, they become kind of a couple a little bit, but not. There's not really a romance there. It's just more of a, they're just kind of paired up as being. You think they're probably going to reproduce together in this, or at least that's what Karen is thinking. But he's not like wimpy though. He's got some rugged qualities to him. Like he knows how to do camp. He's got camping skills. He knows how to blow up a raft and float with a raft. And he's got a lot. He's just got a lot of good survival skills. He's real cerebral. He really thinks things through. He doesn't rush to judgment. So when Karen tells him one night in the camp, in the little tent, she says, "Look, I think I'm pregnant." It was by some other guy. I think it was Keith Carradine. I think she said Arthur. I think it was Keith Carradine's character. He was like a perfect kind of blonde hair down to here, kind of hippie type of the time. And he's like, he doesn't have a huge role in this, but he just looks the part, really, really good. But he's but when she tells him, like, I'm pretty sure I'm pregnant, and then she doesn't know that everyone's sterile. But he still could have reacted like, "Oh, well, you got with this other guy," but he's real understanding of her and doesn't shame her or anything. So I think he's just a real endearing character. I like the fact that there's some one of the things that some of the reviews here on YouTube have criticized this movie about this film is the kind of the hippie teenagers being very unlikable, and I don't really see that being really true. I mean, you have the one that like spazzes out, the girl, and she wants to go back, and then at the end there's a real intense scene where she's waiting outside the transfer for Karen, the transfer portal thing, but she assaults her at one point, but then when she's waiting for her to come back from the past, she never comes because she goes to a different time, I think by accident. But I think there's just things like there's an older guy. I think he's supposed to be maybe mid-30s. He's black. He's got a beard. He's kind of a doctor type guy, but he's the guy who like shouldn't have gone because anyone over like 20 is at risk because of the something about transferring his back for the kidneys. And so there's a part where he's actually dying, like he's hemorrhaging his kidneys and he's dying, but they don't show him, but they said that he went off somewhere to hide. Everyone's planning on going to Portland, and he says, "Just leave me behind and I'll just be a burden on everybody." And it's kind of a sad scene. And then one of the young guys is like, "No, that's garbage. We gotta tell me where he went. We gotta find him." So there's things like that. And then there's where you actually see some heart from these kids. And then there's a part where they find there's some other civilization still alive. Like there's these kind of mentally handicapped people, and you only see one of them. It's a girl about the same age, like maybe 19, 20 or so, and she's like doesn't speak. She's got the mentality of maybe a toddler, and the way they talk about these people that they found, these kind of mentally challenged people who might be, I guess, descendants of some of the people who survived the ecological disaster. We don't really know that, but the way they talk about them, they're like, yeah, they're real dumb, but they're so happy, and like, so there's kind of like a heart to it, and the way that they show and convey the that mentally challenged girl. It's not like, nothing comes off offensive about it. It's like really, it seems really real, and it's like, I like those scenes. They're pretty good. There's a Peter Fonda interview about this film on YouTube, and it's really good. He really talks about how the way that he cast it. I don't know if he's credited as the caster, but he pretty much did the casting. Like Kelly Bohannon, he found at some diner, and she was not even, she had no acting experience, but he liked the way that she was handling a lot of it was like a rush time and a lot of complaining customers. She was real calm about it, and he saw it and just was like, I need that kind of character in my film. There was another guy who was like the scientist that he saw in real life. He, like, Peter Fonda was getting his bike fixed, and he liked the way the guy was meticulously working on his bike, and so he like hired him to be like a scientist guy. I'm not sure which character that he's referring to in this, but he said that's the way that he casted the filming in this movie, which is pretty cool. I think that's like, it's somehow like, I don't know if he just got lucky or what, but it, like he said, it just for that time, it just, everything kind of worked out, and they did a great job, even though they never acted again, which is, which is just wild. But I like that part of the real amateur actors who do a solid job. And the characters, like I said, I don't think they're that bad. I think they're kind of likable in a way. And the terrain of the place in Idaho is called, I lost my notes here at Rio, but it's called, I forget its real life place, but that choice of setting, I think is awesome. It's really, it makes it look real apocalyptic, but it's real. And they even talk about how, so it's gorgeous. The black rocks there, it's like this lava type stuff that's been hardened up, and it's kind of dangerous too. But you kind of think that that it's all like that until they're on their way to Portland, and then you have Ronald, who, there's a scene where he's like in this river, like with a raft with Karen, which is kind of cool. Speaking of rafting, there's some rafters here today at Rio coming right towards me. But so it's like there's actually some pretty cool looking scenery in this film. I think it's really nice. You also have, in the future, it's kind of like there's snow on the lava, and that's really creepy looking. The train that they find, the abandoned train, is cool. The car that's got like dust in it, that's abandoned, and it's got like a child's toy in the back and a doll. It really freaks out Karen. She gets real worried about it. That's a real powerful scene, I think. But the future, I'll talk about the future, the last scene, but I think that I like the risks that Peter Fonda took in this. Like, well, there's, killing off what you thought was going to be the main character, and then having them all be sterile just creates this like doom. Like, it's because first of all, they can't go back to the past because the government found out about it and they shut it down, so they're unable to go back, and there's no way to like reproduce to make a future world. So it's a real like, okay, so now what? They're just kind of doomed, unless there's other people. There might be other people, but there's even talking about like reproducing with those mentally challenged people. Like maybe we can get them to reproduce together, or maybe one of us can like reproduce with them, and the children will come out normal. Of course, this is Karen sort of thinking this out. This is before she finds out they're all sterile. So that's a real, like, kind of bold move to do that, where there's, like, basically no hope for the world. But the future family is really cool. Like, the future man, future woman, future girl, that's what they're credited as. They just, in the car, it's real, like, it's really like 2044 looking. In the suits they wear, it's kind of creepy. The future girl is played by Vicky Dietrich, who is in Nothing Else as her only role, and she really looks like one of the main actor in Child in Village of the Damned, 1960, which is kind of cool. And so that really gives it a haunting effect. And she's also kind of ambiguous with the gender. You think she might be a boy, but she is a girl. But it's kind of, again, it's just kind of that it works for kind of that whole, like, robotic, like, kind of future that they're trying to convey. Then the ending's a good shocker. It's kind of there's a little bit of a statement there made, but it's not a preachy one. I like it. Peter Fonda's was a real proponent of electric cars. He's talked about that, so that's kind of conveyed. But this is a good film. This is probably one of the best time travel films that I've seen. I mean, I think all the Back to the Futures, and then The Time Machine, 1960, of course. Those are 4 excellent movies. And this is one that is, the premise is really good. I think it's original. It's 86 minutes long, and it could have gone easily 2 hours and been strung out to develop a lot of things better, but it was, of course, limited budget. But for what they had to work with, I think it's just a very, very solid movie. I recommend watching this because you will want to watch it again. That's what Peter Fonda said in the interview. Like, you'll feel like you need to see it again. I've seen this 5 times, and I'm not the smartest knife in the drawer. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but there's definitely things that I've still missed. Like, what does this mean? You know, so. Definitely the kind of thing where you really got to kind of focus and pay attention to different things, and it's really they're kind of wise to leave some things unsaid and be a little vague about what type of ecological disaster happens. So that's really good too, so they don't fall into those temptations. So check it out, Idaho Transfer, 1973. Thanks for watching this review. I'm just thankful the phone didn't overheat out here at the river.